So, let's see. Hot Apollo, your band.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how long have you been doing that?
Basically since I left university.
Oh, nice, nice. Do you,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I cut out a year after a year and a half too because I realized it like like making my own art was more important than like studying like the art of dead people. Not that there's anything wrong with that, just wasn't for me.
Was,
And I didn't want to go into academia full time, so I just like cut my losses after a year and a half.
was that what you went to school for studying the art of dead people?
I just take every subject that seems interesting to me because I was told for my entire life that getting a degree of any kind would be the best way to get a day job, and I thought that I might need a backup plan. And then I realized, oh no, wait, getting an arts degree. So I just picked like subjects that appealed to me like through interest. And I got your English literature, philosophy, mythology, that kind of thing. And then I realized, oh no, wait, this is not going to come at all unless I want to like live my entire life in a university campus and just like make that come my career, and I don't. I just quit and focus full time on music.
Do you do that full time? Or do you still have a day job?
I do not currently have a day job.
Hey, good for you. That's, that's a lot right there. A lot of people I can't say that. I still have to actually work.
I know. I'm incredibly fortunate to be able to do this and be able to focus on it because a lot of people just have to make art in the corners of their lives, whereas my life has no corners. It's a solid sphere of rock.
Nice. I saw your album was out. I watched the video for Baby Lord. That was your new music video?
Yeah, well, that's the second newest. That's the lead single. And right after the album dropped, we put out a video for the second single, which is Working on Love.
Oh, nice, nice. So I found y'all on Spotify. Y'all put out albums for about, what, like 2-3 years, like starting around the pandemic-ish?
We put out one EP and a few singles before that, but we really ramped it up after, like, early 2020, mid-2020, because I think, I don't know, I was like, leaning towards this already, but, so here's the thing. Recording can be very expensive. I want, like, really good, like, audio quality on everything I do. So, I like, for a while I've just been, like, hoping that I get signed and to some label that could, like, help finance it. I was also applying for grants. None of that, well, I was assigned to a couple labels, but they, both of them, like, folded or had, like, really roll back pretty fast. They weren't very well managed, so that didn't help. And the grants didn't work because I don't think a lot of the grants go to like rock bands really. So after during the pandemic, I was all right. Like I love performing these songs, like they're amazing, but a day could come when I'm not alive to perform them anymore, and I want them to outlast me. You know. I believe in immortality through art. So I need to get it. Like I have like dozens, hundreds potentially of amazing songs, and I just thought, I need to like start getting these down like on record. I can't like just do a single or two a year when I contribute together the money. I have to like put everything I have into this. So like that, I really started like ramp it up, and yeah, so this is our first like full length album. We were just like consistently increasing the amount of like record output we have because I want to get everything down,
Yeah, I mean, no artist really gets into this because we want to play the industry game. That's usually like counterintuitive to everything that we got into art for. Where'd you get the name?
In high school, I was in a few bands with people who really said they wanted to take it, like, to the stars, like, be the biggest rock band we could be. And in every case, everyone else in the band just, like, lost the motivation pretty fast. But I remember there was this one band I was in with a guy named Hard Needle, and that was his birth name, and he was very proud of such a unique name. And he always said if he started a solo act, he'd call it Hard Needles and a Love Dart. But when we were thinking about the name for our band, he mentioned this one poem called The Shrouded Stranger by Allen Ginsberg. My friend Hard was like a big fan of like the Beat poet. And there's one line in it, Hot Apollo. I think like Hot Apollo falls on my back or something. It was about like the gay orgy scene in the like 50s in San Francisco or whatever. And he said like Hot Apollo would be an awesome name for a band. And I thought, you know what? I'm not like that familiar with the Beats. I'm a bigger fan of like the like 19th century romantic poets. But I do really dig mythology, and something about the name Apollo always rolled off my tongue. So I thought, that's a pretty good name. And that's, as I said, that band dissolved pretty fast. But later in life, when I got back into music after a small period of disillusionment, the band name I had at the time turned out to be taken by another band in the city. So I thought, you know what, Hot Apollo is still a pretty great name. So I called him up and I said, yo, could I use that name? And he said, you know what, like, I think back into it, it's going to be with the Love Dart, which, we're non-existent. And he said, yeah, you can use that name, but where you got it, same got it for me. So whenever anyone asks, I tell that story.
Oh, that's sick. And by the way, my co-host Jay is here.
Hey, what's good, James?
Welcome, Jay.
This is Jay.
Hello.
How
Welcome to Toronto, whenever you get here.
Yeah, dude, I'm going to be there probably in, let's say, October at the latest. Yeah, I'll be moving.
October, all right, wicked.
Yeah. So actually...
Yeah, let me know when you drop in. We'll definitely have like a show around then. I think, paying Naked Eve in like the second half of October. I think it's like the 17th. I think it's Friday.
So wait.
I'll invite you guys to that. Buy a drink, man. We'll have a time.
That's awesome. And yeah, just to clarify, James, you are currently in Toronto, is that correct?
That's correct.
That's awesome, dude. How do you... I think Morgan had asked you. You said it was awesome, but like, is that correct? Would you clarify?
Oh yeah. I'll be honest. There was a time in my life when I thought there were like a number of cities I might prefer to live in, and I did a lot of traveling. I thought, you know what? There are a lot of awesome places in the world. A lot of places I'd like to visit more, come back to, go see for the first time. But I kept traveling, and I realized, you know what? Toronto is basically the perfect city for me. The only exception, maybe if I'd been born in Manhattan, like, it might have been slightly better, but I'm not even sure about that. I just know that, like, at worst, I was born in, like, the second best city for me. So that's a pretty good luck of a draw.
What do you like about Toronto as far as you said it, like, fits you really well? Like, what exactly is it that gels so well?
Basically everything to the weather, I think. It's got a pretty healthy music scene. I mean, honestly, every city, in my experience at least, has a lot of the same positive qualities. You know, it is where artists and eccentrics tend to flock. You know, I know a lot of people who are from small towns, and like it's as though they've finally found a space where they're not really prevented from being themselves in any like really like sort of systemic way. You know, occasionally like, you know, people there's someone ever who'll take issue with anything, but like generally it's just like a space where that's what I was about to say. Don't feel the noise. I really dig just the density and like raucous ambience of cities. Like downtown, like that's just what feels right to me. That background hum of activity and life.
Sick. Yeah. I'm from San Francisco originally, or that's where I've previously been. So I'm hoping, I really love San Francisco. I'm hoping Toronto is like similar. It looks similar in the photos, so.
I would definitely consider, like, in San Francisco is one of the places I thought about living. And I do like the fact that it doesn't have, like, winter in the same way. Like, right now it's summer and it's glorious, but, you know, winter, I don't like cold at all. So that's the one negative for me. But San Francisco, like, I don't like the knowledge that I could just wake up and, like, half my stuff would be, like, broken because there was an earthquake. Like, I don't like the fact that there's something that unpredictable that is just liable to happen whenever in my life, you know? So that's one of the things that turned me off of moving to San Francisco.
Yeah, that is a big scare.
I've found that California, it's always the end of the world. Like every day, there's always something. Fires,
Yeah.
always something.
Like as I said, I don't like the winter, but at least I know that it's just a part of the cycle, and it's not actually going to like affect me in any substantial way. It's just going to be very annoying, and I have to wear a shirt. Like I have to wear a jacket. I have to cover my body in the winter because it's cold, and if I didn't do that, I would die. Whereas in summer, I can just like go out in like nothing, and it's off.
Yeah, so that means you prefer to be exposed. You prefer not covering your body, just generally. That's the
Correct.
preferred state.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah. When you go out for a weekend, it's like, all right, pair of leggings, maybe like, I don't know if you, like, you saw what I was wearing in the last video, but like, it's like sort of a scale mail mantle. I'm not sure what sense I get. But I can just go out like that, and it's pretty all right. Like, temperature, I can just like absorb all the summer heat, and yeah, I can't do it in the winter. I have to wear, I bought the heaviest jacket I could find, and listen, I have a weird threshold for cold. Like I can take any amount of heat, but like if it drops below, like I can't do Fahrenheit, but like let's say like 16 degrees Celsius, I get chilly immediately. So like even like in like the hottest coat I have, I still don't feel comfortable in the winter at like night. But that's just me. Like you'll probably be fine because you're ostensibly a normal person, or at least closer than I am. Yeah.
Yeah, 16 degrees Celsius is 60.8 Fahrenheit. I did Google that.
I also was hoping you would Google that because I am.
Look at Mr. Science over here.
Yeah,
Love it.
yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, Jay plays drums. He's a wild drummer. I've seen him break sticks, cymbals, all kinds of stuff. He's ridiculous. So yeah, what's the music scene like in Toronto, or for you at least? Like, cause what do you call your genre? I'd call it like it's kind of punk influenced with like there's like some kind of macabre theme to it. What do you call it? Power pop, power punk, something?
Yeah, that would work. I've heard glitter punk. I call it tempest rock because we're louder than thunder and shiny like lightning. But I think like glitter punk is a decent summation of a lot of our sound. Like we do have a fair amount of breadth, but I'd say the core of it is just sort of like classic rock and roll ethos with an added tinge of like virtuosity and a sparkle on top.
So, question for you, actually.
Yeah.
I just had a question, and I guess it's a bit of a selfish question because I'm going to be moving up there.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering, for you and your band, did you guys have any challenges when like first getting together in the Toronto scene? Even as far as like something little like finding good places to play, yada yada, etc. And how are the venues? Or did you find that Toronto was actually like super welcoming for you guys to start?
There are a lot of amazing venues. It's like my friend. It's funny. So we got put. Someone was organizing a show for us recently, and we got like put on a bill with bands like of friends, and like the promoter didn't know that like we knew each other, but like we just looked at the bill together. Like, oh, well, all of us are playing together. Cool. And one of the bands only recently moved to Toronto, and it's the first show here, and it's a pretty great venue. So like even if you're just starting out, like you can get in on the places that people go without too much trouble. At least in my experience. I mean, you have to like be
Good.
at least decent. Like have that people want, but if you have that, which you should, then you don't have much trouble. The challenges that like I've faced, to my mind, are the challenges that anyone has in the music industry anywhere, which is just like getting in front of the right people, getting that luck, like rising above the the signal noise ratio, getting that critical mass, which is something we're still working on. But in terms of just like getting to play shows, it has not been that troublesome for us. There are a lot of like great venues around here, Sneaky D's, Lee's Palace, Opera House. Those are some of my favorites. El Combo is back again after like 3 or 4 shutdowns. There's some amazing places to play.
I've found that most of the like challenges I've faced in the music industry is people's fucking entitlement and attitudes. Like you just find people that, regardless of their playing ability, either like won't thank you for the gig or, when sometimes it's because you're first starting out. Because I remember when I first started out playing and stuff, I was really bad at going to support other musicians. I would be like, okay, everybody come to my show, but I'm never coming out to yours, and like it's not sustainable. So I've had to work on that myself. But even now, I see it's still like an eminent problem among the musician community, as there's a lot of people out for themselves. It's tough. I know it's kind of a generalization.
No, I think I hear what you're saying, but like as you said, like you never lived in Toronto, but you experienced that problem. I think that's just a problem with like people in general. I don't think it's endemic to any particular locale. So but I think there are people who support local music and there are people who don't. And there are people. Listen, I do have lovely friends like this. This is not a judgment on them. This is just how people can be sometimes. People, I don't know, it's like a meme at this point, but like people will pay like hundreds of dollars they don't readily have to see bands they've been obsessed with since middle school, but it's much harder to get them to pay like $10 for a local show. And that's just because, in my mind, like, those big bands have been in their blood and soul for like years, like a lot of these people have like had their lives saved by those bands, and local bands just like they didn't get in their psyches in such a formative way, and so that's why they're not like willing to go the distance for them. But I just think if you keep putting yourself out there, like, you'll get to people, and the right people will come, and then when it's getting critical mass, you get there, and then you'll be that big like life-saving, soul-defining band for some new people.
Yeah. I mean, there is definitely a reaching others element to it. I mean, would we even survive in this industry without community? Community is so important, and I mean, with all aspects of life. So yeah, I totally get that. Yeah. So what?
There is kind of like a local music community here too. It's just I think there are people who go to like local shows, and there are people who don't, and it can be hard to get a consistent attendance from the latter category, but not impossible.
No, not impossible. Honestly, one of my friends, he was in this death metal band, and he gave this one person $10 to cover them to get into the show. It was really funny. Like, he went out of his way to give him the $10. He's like, "Come on, but if you don't come, give me the $10 back. I'm gonna want it back." I'm like, it's a good move.
I will say there's a pretty healthy metal scene here. I think that might almost be an exception. I have a fair amount of friends who are heavily into metal, and it seems as though the overlap between people who go to like local metal shows and people who go to like see the big metal bands is like almost a complete circle. Like, I think there are people who just like want to spend every like free moment at metal concerts, and the stature of the band does not matter. They just want to be there.
Yeah, and I mean,
so I think metal scene is actually really good here.
Metal shows also have like a crazy energy to them. What's like? Do you guys have that when you guys play out? Do you guys have like mosh pits? What's like some crazy stuff that happens to you guys on stage?
I'm the craziest thing that happens on stage, but yes, we do tend to like get the crowd going pretty well. In large part because of the crazy stuff we do.
Yeah, care to give any examples? I'd love to hear some crazy stuff you do on stage. No pressure.
Okay. Like this, at the last show, like, we were like just getting off, and then we like, usually these shows are run pretty tightly. At least I think there's a guy who organized this one, but like, it was one band dropped out, so it was a looser night anyway. When there's an injury or something. So like we were given the go ahead to do an encore when people were manning it, and the energy was so good, and like during like the guitar solo, I just like looked at my bassist and like jumped on him, and he like I rode him around the stage for the whole guitar solo. So that was a fun time. That was like last week. That sticks out in my mind. And I've only done that before, but it was just sort of spontaneous moment, and yeah.
Sick.
But yeah, I think when you're, again, if you're gonna if you want the people to come out to a show instead of just like listening to music at home, you've got to give them something above the audio experience.
Yeah, you gotta
so I'm a big supporter of, I'm a big believer in like making a show a spectacle for the ears, eyes, and like every other sense you can.
Well, that's rock and roll in its essence, and we're in competition with like other genres where people pay way more to see somebody dance around and scream and lip sync over a laptop. Like I've seen rap concerts of some pretty big names where like they didn't even play a full hour, and like it was a good show. I can't talk shit, but like I'd rather see a band, like I'd rather pay $30 and see someone play for 2 hours and jump on their bass player and ride around and give me something to remember. Like there was one band Jay and I saw, and the singer put shoes on his hands and started doing like a weird Macarena walk thing. Like, do I remember what they sounded like? No, but I remember the shoes on the hands, and I still remembered that band. So yeah, there's a lot of that that's getting lost these days, at least stateside. How about you? Are there any other bands around you that you're friends with? Are you seeing this too, as far as live performances not being what they used to be, as the boomers would say?
I'm lucky enough. Like I played, one of the other bands that played at this show was a group called Generation Zero, and their singer, I think, did a fair job of trying to match me for like raw presence, and he really got his guys going too. So there are still other bands who carry that torch. And I totally respect and admire them for it. And like those are the bands I like love playing with repeatedly. As I said, like Generation Zero, that was at least the second or third show I played with them, and like they're always good to play with. There's lots of like serious Rage Against the Machine vibes too. But yeah, no, they're after you check out How to Follow and like download or save like all our stuff. Definitely check out Generation Zero, because I want to give a shout to other up-and-coming bands that really deserve it, and they are one.
For sure. Hot Apollo, Generation Zero. Nice. So what are your influences? Just curious.
Myself, basically. I just write what's in my heart. I mean, I came into music through poetry, so that's like usually my angle in it. Like after I started the band, I started to get into more of the riff making process too. But the words are usually still like the first ingredient of the song for me, and I just write the shiny magic stuff that's in my soul and find tunes that go along with it.
But there's no there's no role model, no main influence you like. You're not like a David Bowie guy or a Lou Reed guy or anything like that.
Not creatively, but I will say this: when I was first starting out and deciding to sing, I wasn't a very good singer. I didn't really play any instruments apart from playing drums badly. And I thought, there are singers who aren't good at singing, but they play instruments, like Bob Dylan was a top example that a lot of people point to. But I didn't even play guitar at that point. I had since learned to play a bit, not write, but that's what I did. I had my words and I had my way of performing them. I thought, Iggy Pop basically just had that too, and he made an awesome career just from those two skills. So if he can do it, there's a precedent for this. Because of that, I feel emboldened to give it a try. So I'd say Iggy Pop is probably like the most important prior person I'd point to for some kind of inspiration. Because he like made me believe that someone with no voice but like a whole lot of like energy and lyricism could make it go a bit.
Yeah. I definitely I can kind of see that. I mean, especially if you're into like some kind of like punk influence stuff. Let's see. I mean, you got anything?
No.
At the moment. I mean, yeah, I found that so much in the with music now, with a lot, especially with like famous artists or anything. Like, are you like to get like mass appeal? Image has a lot more to do than content. Sometimes it's about aesthetic rather than it's like an old joke about what's the difference between a rock guitarist and a jazz guitarist. A rock guitarist plays 3 chords for 1,000 people. A jazz guitarist plays 1,000 chords for 3 people. So like content, nobody's graded on content. I feel like there's a lot of work that goes into image. Do you feel the same way, or do you spend time working on the image of Hot Apollo, or is it just all coming naturally to you? Is this like as genuine as it gets for you?
I mean, my image is pretty awesome, but I came by all that very honestly. Like, the same way I write what's in my soul, I dress with what's in my soul, and like people think that I get stopped in the street by people who just like want to know like why I'm wearing what I'm wearing, and just because I guess it feels right. And so that, like, I think I already sort of have the image naturally. So I don't really worry about that. But honestly, I think that most of, like, my favorite, like, artists do, and that's like the music. Like, look at the way, like, Jimmy Page and Mark Bolan dress. It's just, like, what they wanted to wear because they were, like magical freaks. And that, helped sell records, but it didn't mean that they were sacrificing any like musical acumen.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that for sure. Only other question I really had about your band was your song "We Don't Need More Songs About Underage Girls." Do you still think that's a problem, like relevantly in music? I feel like that's old school. Like, I know it's a problem in society overall, but is music still really like embracing that? I haven't heard too many. Like, I can name you at least 100 rock songs that are about that, but I don't know if that's still, like, since the PC culture and everything's kind of taking coming to the forefront, I don't think it's as prominent, especially with cancel culture. Like, artists that do that tend to not last anymore. They're kind of getting outed.
So, I mean, that's a good question. I'd say that explicit lyrical references to that kind of thing are dwindling, but there are still artists who say that kind of thing, who live that kind of thing, and it's still very much a problem in the entertainment industry and just the way in which society views, like, young women in general. So the song isn't just about, like old song lyrics. It's about, like, the ways society is still practicing what those lyrics relayed, and it's not quite as blatant as it was 20 or 30 years ago, but I think while the symptom may have lessened, the disease is still festering.
Oh yeah, it's a good.
That's what inspired that song.
Yeah, it's a good reason to stay the fuck away from Hollywood because I mean it's all entertainment industry sexualizes everything. It's so hard not to find anything that's like it. So I mean, it's cool that you took like an explicit stance against that. It's just it was interesting to see something call attention to it when usually, like you said, it's kind of swept under the rug and kind of implicit. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, you can like go on Twitter, and I'm sure you can find like any number of like fairly prominent entertainment figures who have some problematic things to say, or at least maybe not on Twitter so much, because I think people are starting to get smart about that. But yeah, people there's a scandal pretty often for that kind of thing. So yeah.
For sure. So, when are your next shows? Just curious.
So I'm playing the Toronto Diversity Festival at Nathan Phillips Square on the 27th of August, and that's actually a pretty early one. I think we're playing around 5 or 6 in the evening. It's a sort of 3-day all day festival, and it's not just music. It's all sorts of experiences, dancers. I think acrobats. I've seen martial arts demonstrations there. Of course, there's also a whole bunch of food booths and stuff where you can get all sorts of amazing food from all kinds of cultures. And then right after that, we're playing the Bovine Sex Club on September 2nd, and that's the show I mentioned earlier with two of my friends' bands that just got randomly put onto a bill with me. And it's funny, one of them I only met within the month prior to the announcement of that show. So I met this guy and I thought, I said you should play a show together. He said, yeah, totally down. And then we didn't really get to have time get to planning it before we realized, oh, we are playing a show together. Sweet.
I'm just sorry. Bovine Sex Club. What's that like? What's that like?
It's probably
Is it just a name?
definitive kind of metal club. They have other stuff too, but it has these sort of practical. 1 second. So I'm telling you how much I love the noise of the city. Sometimes that's part of it. I don't hear the sirens or whatever. It's got this sort of classical, punk metal club vibe to it. Very well run, but it has that dark crunch to it. And that is a place for sure. It's really crazy. So I love it. It's one of the premier independent venues of the city, I'd say.
That is sick. Yeah, I'm looking this one up now. That it's kind of like a CBGB's before it turned into pretty legit.
Yeah.
Yes. That is a good comparison.
Yeah.
And the whole the signs barbed wire and stuff. It's great.
Yeah, before it turned into the John Varvatos store, God forbid. Yeah. I guess. Do you guys have when pandemic hit? You guys was there a great out migration of venues? Were a lot of venues going out because we had to really pull together and do a lot of donating and run campaigns to save a lot of classic venues here, even in Nashville, Tennessee.
Actually, my friend is part of a show organizing group called Toronto Music Venues. That's saying a word of it. But actually, even before that, in between 2016 and 2019, there were a handful of well-established, very prestigious, independent music venues that closed down for one reason or another. I think if it did anything, the pandemic might have brought more positive attention to the music scene, and now the venues aren't seeming to shut down, and some of them are actually forcibly being saved from shutting down. So I think the community, the music community is on the rise here. Again, I don't think it ever dipped too badly, but there were a few little flashes of tragedy that hit it before the pandemic, and I think the pandemic and the subsequent urge to how places to go and do things again has really helped to bolster things, and now more venues are popping up. There's a big update, a few shows that in the spring called the Cat on Q that just popped up in April or something, and it's doing pretty well. So yeah, it's new places are popping up, and old ones are are being like reinvigorated. As I said, El Combo, which I shut down on a few occasions over the last like 10 years, has just come back. We played there around like May, I think, and it's better than it's ever been.
Oh.
Which like El Combo is like probably one of the city's like, most famous like independent venues.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah.
Yeah, I was, let's see. Are you working on a tour anytime soon? Are you looking at expanding your performances at all? Or is that feasible for you?
We haven't really thought heavily about touring yet. Right now, our focus is like building a base, like a bigger base here, and also like getting all the recording we can underway. But yeah, I mean, if we see a good moment or opportunity for a tour, then we'd want to check that out. We just haven't like really put that together yet.
Ah, for sure.
We played like around Ontario, like, but not really much outside of that so far.
Yeah, but I mean, that's still good. At least you're building a home base. Yeah, these things take a lot of time. They never tell you how much time it takes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where can we find your stuff besides Spotify, iTunes? You have your website, hotapollo.com. Where else can we find your stuff?
Literally everywhere you listen to music on the internet. Like iTunes, Spotify, Bandcamp, SoundCloud, YouTube, like Google Music or whatever it is. I don't know all the services, but I know we're on all of them. So yeah, you search for Hot Apollo anywhere, you'll find us. Like Twitter, Instagram, we're gonna like TikTok, like search for Hot Apollo anywhere. It's almost guaranteed you'll find us.
And would I be allowed to feature one of your songs on this podcast just for the promotion's sake?
I'm going to say this right now. In perpetuity, you are allowed to feature all of our songs at any time for any reason. We are all allowed to be in everywhere. So yeah.
If you had a preference in song?
I would say Baby Lord, which is I think the first video you saw.
Yes.
It's one of my newest lead single from the new album, and it's got a bit of everything. I think it's got like some of our like musical flair. It's got like a really uplifting solo. It's got like sort of anthemic quality in the middle there. So like I think it's a sort of good summary of what Hot Apollo is about.
Awesome. And I guess my last question to you is unrelated to music or your life, but if it were your last day on Earth, what would you do? And you knew it was your last day on Earth, obviously. Yeah, nobody thinks about this. This is not a common thing that people think about. I didn't expect you to have an answer ready to go. You can.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I'm not quite convinced yet that I'm not immortal, so that makes it harder. But theoretically, I think I wanted to spend it with at least one person I care about. Honestly, I would like to play a show, but you said don't involve music in this question, so.
Oh no, you can involve music. It's whatever you want. It was just the question isn't music related.
Well, because being like the stage is my happy place, so I definitely want to play a show. And then I don't know, maybe after that, like so play, see like a friend or like a loved one, play an awesome rock and roll show. Then like maybe go out to a movie afterwards, and then hey, I'm dead. I think like that'd be a pretty good day.
That's a pretty good day. Jay, your last day on Earth, what'd you do?
I would play some drums. That's I would go play some drums.
Play some drums.
Play some drums.
Yeah, all right.
For the rest of the day, I don't know what I'd do.
Drum all day. Drum for 3 days straight. That way it's the longest day on Earth.
There you go. Yo, I'm going to go out the best drummer possible.
David Blaine style, just drum and drum and drum. Drum till you come. Boom.
Yeah.
There you go.
Set the record for break like John Bonham's record for like longest drum solo or whatever. Yeah, I'm about that. You're like probably a man after my own heart. Dig that.
Yeah, dude, maybe I'll drum so much that they can't even. It won't even be the last day. You know, they'll be like, we can't stop.
2 years later, he's still drumming. He hasn't eaten in years.
The solo is so good, we can't kill him.
He actually died. His
Your
arms
heart-
just didn't realize.
Your heart will stop beating, but your sticks won't.
Oh, I like
You'll
that.
be like a drumming vampire.
That's a good one.
That's like a song lyric right
Drumpire.
there. Drumpire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I thank you for your time, and I wish you all the best with Hot Apollo.
Yeah, and yeah, Jay, like when you get here, like, give me a shout. I'll invite your show. We'll have a time. It'll be epic.
Yeah, for sure. I also
Looking
saw
forward
you
to that.
guys were on Insta, so I'll probably just message you guys there. And yeah, we're love
Wicked.
hanging out.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you. You have a great rest of your day.
Same to you.
Bye.
Bye for now.
Buckman gets 0 stars.